and that takes a while sitting in a lot of hunts.
Do you have like a list of do's and don'ts this time of year, like priorities as far as opportunity ahead of me this year?
Yeah.
Yo guys, what's up? Heading out to do some scouting. Friday night I went out spotting right at dark there, right before dark, and saw some, I don't know, a few nice deer out in the bean field. So now today I'm going to go out and take a gander around, see if I can find where those deer are living. It's out here on some public ground. But one thing that I do a lot when I'm driving around like this is I listen to podcasts. And I was going to see if anybody had any good podcasts that they recommend listening to on deer hunting. I listen to the Deer Hunter podcast. I listen to Kafaru Cast a lot. It's a lot of like Western hunting type, type information. I listen to Meat Eater and some of those more popular podcasts also, but maybe some more specifically on deer hunting. I listen to Wired to Hunt quite a bit too, not as often, it doesn't seem like, but I really like those guys on the Deer Hunter podcast. You may not want to let your kids listen to them all the time, but they're pretty entertaining. Obviously then you got the hunting bee stuff, but they don't seem to put much content out very often, but I probably listen to their podcast 40 times over and over again. So just curious, maybe there's some new information out there that I could be listening to while I'm burning some gas. So this is a great big creek that runs all the way through this public ground. I think this is a deterrent for hunters for sure. So anytime you can find something like this, or it's going to block people from going back deeper, this is the stuff you have to figure out how to cross. Now, right now the water's down for the most part, so it's fairly simple to cross, but if we get some rain, this creek can get pretty deep where I don't even know if you could cross it. You'd have to almost drag a little canoe or something back here to get across it. But I found this layover right down here. I think I'm gonna cross right there, hopefully, without getting my feet wet. Oh, that smells good. Coyote tracks in here. Decent buck track. You can see here, typically the deer are going to like to cross the same places we like to cross. I didn't know this little trail was here, but clearly the deer take the path of least resistance also. Man, the bad part is I don't know if the water's up if I'll be able to get through this creek or not. I may have to figure out a way to cross. There's some borders I can get, like actually on the side of the creek without going on private ground. So we made it though. Couple tom turkeys out there about 150 yards. My little Canon here doesn't zoom very far. It only has a 4-power zoom. Them suckers are working their way right to me though. I think they're end up gonna see me here, stay in the shadows, but those beards swing down to the ground. They're pretty good ones. Since I'm not turkey hunting, I'm just gonna keep on going. Good to take note though, those are two nice toms back here on public ground. There's a finger that comes out into this bean field that's actually public ground that I'm walking down right now. It kind of stuck out to me on a map like a place where a big buck would bed, and there's a nice big trail that goes in here through here. So gonna keep on going, see if I can find any good sign. Anytime I find a real good path like this one right here that's just absolutely tore down with deer tracks, I always mark it, especially if there's two that come together right there. So I mark that. Be a good place for you know, just to throw a stand at it. There's clearly deer working this area. I'm not going to go any farther because I think the property line's getting close. But yeah, seems like anytime I find these kind of runs or trails, man, always mark it on your OnX or whatever you use your hunt stand. And it's worth throwing a set out. There's some big buck tracks in here. Now, I know these deer are using these bean fields right now, but still, it's worth throwing a set at. I'm gonna try to show you guys what I do here. My camera will focus. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys what I do here. Whenever I find a spot I like, I go to map tools. You go to mark my location. That drops a pin. Now, from there, you want to click on the pin, open the pin up and view and edit it. And then here in notes, click on notes, and I take very detailed notes on what actually I found here, and you know, what I saw, what I think a good stand would be. So just a little tip. Check out these old cars that are back here on public land. Kind of sweet. It's a random little pond way back here in the middle of public, actually in these hills. Might be a good spot for early season. I'm going to walk around the dam of it here and see if there's any good sign of deer coming through here. Never killed a deer over water. Honestly, I don't know what it is about it. I'm sure it works. Just where I hunt at, there's plenty of water for the most part. So no real need for deer to come to a specific water source. However, out here in the middle of this hill country stuff, it may be a spot where they come and stop by from time to time. I definitely found a deer bed right here on the pond. I think it's a doe though, because there is another one right here, and then another one right here. So kind of a good example of how does will bed in a little circle like this. But I guess deer using this little pond, so it's good to know. I'm going to show you guys another terrain feature that is oftentimes good for like rut stands especially, but deer like to travel across what's called a saddle, and I'm going to show you what a saddle looks like on the map here. You can see here this ridge comes down and this ridge comes down, and it's kind of where the low point of a ridge is, and you can see the saddle would be right there. So you can, the reason they call it a saddle, it almost looks like a horse saddle on the map, and right there where I have that mark is the middle of the saddle. Now, what does that look like in the woods? I don't know how good you're going to be able to see this, but you can see it goes uphill back up and the ridge continues, comes down, and then back up again and the ridge continues. And then there's a low spot, you know, right in here. So that's another terrain feature that is a good spot to set up on a lot of times, especially for a rut stand. If you guys want a good resource for hill country and using topo maps to kill big bucks, get the book Mapping Trophy Whitetails by Brad Herndon. Brad is actually lives in the same town I live in. He only lives a couple miles from where I live, so I get to visit with Brad from time to time. Super nice guy. So pick that up if you're interested. Maybe I'll put a link below to his book. It's a good resource to have. Heading back to the truck now. I didn't film it, I forgot, but I did find a really good path where it comes out into this bean field, which is a private field. Some really good big buck tracks on there. I walked that trail back a little bit, found a pretty good area to set it up in. I assume the big bucks are bedded up in them hills, which I did find some decent spots where they could be bedded. And they probably come in the evenings down into this, down into these bean fields. So my plan is to get really near to those hills on a trail where I think those bucks are coming out at. And what I'm going to do in the next few days to a week is bring the spotting scope and binos and go sit on the edge of this bean field on the public ground and watch where these deer come out at. So I'm gonna have to bring a dang thermocell or something too, because these mosquitoes are bad in this wet ground down here. Well, overall, another productive day of scouting. Just got to get out there and do it, guys. I know it's hard to make time sometimes. I'm fortunate enough to where right now I have a decent amount of time that I could take advantage of doing my summertime scouting. Having a little boy in August, not in August, Jesus. Having a little boy in October, end of October. So my time may be a little more limited this year, but I think got to do my best to you know, make time for my family and make time for doing things that I also enjoy. I think that's important. So we will see you guys on the next vlog.